Still rocking after all these years.
This is the story of my rock and roll butler.
This is it, the show that started it all. Often imitated, but never equal. From San Francisco, USA, online since 2004. It's the one and only Rock and Roll Geek Show. With the original Rock and Roll Geek, Michael Butler.
Welcome to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. My name's Michael Butler. Thanks a lot for joining me. I really appreciate it. I have a very special show for you tonight. I have an interview with somebody who I've known for a very, very long time. This person started off in the punk rock scene way back with me in the 80s in Jacksonville, Florida. His name is Joe Reineke. He was in a band. Well, when I was in Stevie Stiletto way back in Jacksonville, he was in a band called Three Blind Mice, and he moved out to the Bay Area before Stevie Stiletto did, and we kind of followed them out here. And when after he came out here, he became quite a well-respected musical figure on the indie rock music scene. And the guy is a major talent, great songwriter, great guitar player, and I'm proud to say that I've known him for many years. Thank you to Steve Crocker, friend of the show, for lining this interview up. This guy, like I said, his name is Joe Reineke. He was in a band out here called The Mises, and then he formed a band later called Alien Crime Syndicate. Both of those bands had huge cult followings, and the guy is a great songwriter. The interview it's a great story. It's just a story of how a man with talent and determination can become a success in the music business. I hope you like it. I think you're going to. Joe programmed the music on this show for me. I asked him to give me 3 songs to play, and he gave me 3. So before the interview starts, I'm going to play a song. Halfway through the interview, I'm going to stick another song in there, and then we're going to close off with another song. All 3 songs are by bands that Joe played in, and he suggested that I play them on this show. So I'm going to start off with a song by his band Alien Crime Syndicate. This song is called The American Way, and then we're going to go right into the Joe Reineke interview. Hope you like it, friends. Thank you so much to everybody who donates to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. Without your donations, this show would die a horrible, putrid, stench-filled death. Please keep them coming. Hope you like this interview. We will talk to you very soon, friends.
If you don't got it, just go steal it. Pass it on the test by cheating. Don't blame it on me because I'm down. Fake it, take it, wake it, bake it. Rules were always good for breaking. Don't keep using me like everyone.
All right, I'm here with my friend Joe. Joe, he is the reason that I came to San Francisco. Did you know that, Joe?
I didn't know that.
And Joe Reineke is, first of all, let me introduce Joe Reineke. He is from a band called The Mises, and then he was in a band called Alien Crime Syndicate. But when I knew Joe Reineke, he was in the punk rock scene in Jacksonville, Florida. When I was in Stevie Stiletto, Joe Reineke was in a band called Three Blind Mice. And we used to all play at this club called The Blighted Area. And that's where I met
the Blighted Area.
That's where I met you. And you're the reason I moved out to San Francisco. We were moving out. Let's see. We had lived in Indianapolis, New York, and several other places. And Ray, the singer for Stevie Stiletto, said, Joe said we can move. We can come out to California and stay with him. So we decided to make the trip out to all the way from Florida because we burned our final bridge in Jacksonville, Florida. And we went to crash on your couch in Monterey, California.
Yeah, and you stayed ever since.
Yeah, I kind of got stuck here. So you're in Seattle now, right?
I am in Seattle.
It's been a long road to get to Seattle.
I was talking to a mutual friend of ours, Jim DeVito, the guy that used to do your records,
That's
actually today. And we were talking about that I had moved as far away as I could from Jacksonville.
That is probably
in the lower 48.
That is as probably as far away as you can get. How is Jimmy DeVito doing?
He's doing good. He's still making records, and he's a jolly old chap.
Jimmy DeVito used to recorded every Stevie Stiletto record that I was ever on. And he used to always front us the studio time. He would say, all right, you guys pay us back. And as soon as you and before you can release the record, before I give you the master tape, you have to finish paying me. And we'd always say, sure. And as soon as we would get the rough mixes from him, Ray would run off about 100 cassettes, and we would go to this place called.
That's beautiful.
We would go to some place in 5 Points. I don't remember what the place was, but we would always sell them in 5 Points, and we'd make enough money to throw Jimmy DeVito about $100 or something, and that's what we'd always. And he always knew we were never going to pay him, but he was always nice about it. I love that guy.
Yeah.
So you guys were in Three Blind Mice. You played at the Blighted Area a lot of times on the same bill as Stevie Stiletto.
Well, I think we played together more than a few times back in the earlier mid-'80s.
Who was in Three Blind Mice? Because you weren't the singer; you were just the guitar player.
I was not. I was the guitar player, and Jimmy Matthews was on drums. Billy Cahoon was on bass.
He moved out to California with you, right?
Yeah, he did. John Hodges was the singer, and he played keyboards as well.
All right, Stephen Crocker was not in the band.
He was actually. I think he was the first singer of the band, and then
really?
John Hodges started singing.
Okay,
in the group.
Stephen Crocker is who reunited me with you. He is a friend of my little podcast here, a loyal friend of the Rock and Roll Geek show.
Yeah. Crocker's awesome dude.
Yeah. So what made you guys decide to leave Jacksonville, Florida?
Well, Billy and I were playing with a drummer who got a job in Santa Cruz, and he said, "Do you guys want to come to California?" And we said yes. Actually, the funny story about this is before I said yes, I said, let me think about that. And I talked to DeVito because it was kind of my reference point for rock and roll a little bit, kind of like a father figure, if you will.
Okay.
And I was like, hey, Big Paul asked us to go to California. What do you think? And he was like, you ever been anywhere? And I said, no. And he's like, well, go somewhere. So that's how I ended up out there. Put all my stuff on his U-Haul and drove out 6 months later.
What was that drummer's name?
Big Paul.
Big Paul?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys moved out. Did you change the name before you moved to California, or did you change it after?
Yeah. So Three Bone Mice kind of disbanded, and then we just decided to call. I started writing songs. We just called it the Mice.
The Mice.
And and we put out a couple of records, and came to California.
The one record I remember was "Who Cut the Cheese."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was kind of in the Replacements vein a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
And Stevie Slater were also big Replacements fans, but we were a little bit more of the hardcore way. And I guess when you guys were in Jacksonville, you were pretty much of a hardcore punk rock band too.
Kind of. We did we kind of moved back and forth from new wave to hardcore kind of, Black Flag and that kind of stuff. So we were in kind of a foot in both camps.
Yeah,
so
kind of the same. As Stevie
you guys
Slater.
were definitely a harder edge kind of leather rock and roll punk rock band.
Yeah, we kind of were into the Descendants and also Black Flag, but we had our pop songs too.
And the Ramones and,
exactly.
and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So you moved out to your drummer moved to Santa Cruz, but when we came out there, you guys were in Monterey, right? Is that right?
Yes, yeah. So that's geographically just 30 minutes.
Oh, really?
South of Santa Cruz.
I still don't even know that. I still live in San Francisco. I never even knew how close those two were. So we followed you guys out. I don't know what happened. Ray said that we could crash on your floor or something like that. And we made our way we made the drive all the way to L.A. and we played a gig in L.A. And then next thing I knew, we were in Monterey at your house. And I think you guys had a gig the night we got there at some club called, what was the name of the Union Jack?
Okay.
Remember, is that the name of the club?
Yeah, we used to play there in Fremont.
Yeah. Oh, that was in Fremont?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right outside of San Francisco.
Yeah.
Huh. See, when I came out here, it was all a blur. It was all California to me. I did not know the difference between Fremont, L.A., San Francisco, or Monterey. And then next thing I know, we were in San Francisco. We stayed at your house maybe for 4 days.
Okay.
And then drove up to San Francisco, and that was probably the last time I heard from you.
Oh, I went to a number of your shows in the city.
Oh, really? Okay, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
We played at the Chatterbox, and I think you bought a guitar from Ray. It was like a Telly, hollow body Telly, or semi-hollow body Telly, or something like that, right?
Yeah, because he was living in Oakland at the time, and we were pals, and he actually, well, I don't know if you can call it buying a car from somebody, but he bought. I sold him a car, then he promised to pay me for it, and then he wrecked it, and then said, "I'm not going to pay you."
Wow, I never knew that. Huh?
It's pretty awesome. It's a classic Ray thing.
So,
it's all right. It wasn't worth much, but
So he handed you his guitar. Did you threaten to kick his ass or anything, or did he just?
No.
Yeah. But he gave you that guitar. In lieu of payment, he gave you that guitar.
Maybe he did, or something like that. A lot of that is kind of blurry to me. It was reckless youth, so to speak.
Did you guys ever move to San Francisco, or what happened with the Mice?
Well, we moved to Oakland actually, and then I ended up moving into the city, and kind of the band kind of disbanded, and I started up the Mises and, with a couple other guys and new songs and that kind of stuff and a different sound.
So what happened with the Mice? The drummer didn't want to move up from Santa Cruz or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. I can't really remember what happened, but it just seemed like it was, time to move on musically a little bit.
So you changed the name of the band to the Mises, and I think you guys got like a record deal like right after that, right?
Well, we started to come up to Seattle a bit and play, and we were friends with, I don't know how that connection was made, but we put out like a cassette and a 7-inch on a friend's label in San Francisco called Two Car Garage, and which is funny because it was the label that Colorfest had put something out on, like a single or something like that. And then we came up to Seattle and we met a record company up here called Empty Records, and then that we put out a 7-inch on that label, and then ended up putting out a full length. And right after the full length came out, we got signed to London Records, and that's when all the hoopla around Nirvana was happening, and
Did you guys stay?
They were kind of handing out record deals to sort of anybody that was loud and brash at that point.
That was about the time. That was kind of like the LA glam scene when Poison or whoever became huge. The record labels would say, "We got to have the new Poison," or "We got to have the new Motley Crue," and when Nirvana made it huge, they had, "We got to have the next Nirvana." So London signed you guys. They were, I guess that was kind of a major. Where did you record the first record?
Yeah, I would say so. They're part of Polygram, and they put out the Rolling Stones, and
And you guys were living in Seattle at the time, or were you living in Oakland?
We were living in San Francisco.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
He says we're in San Francisco. Then.
And they were looking for the next Nirvana or whoever.
I don't know if they were looking for that, but they
were signing everybody and his brother. Since grunge was happening. And that's pretty much what killed the hair metal, and that's pretty much what killed the grunge, and that's pretty much what will kill every kind of music probably that makes it big. But that's besides the point. So when you got signed to London Records, who was in the band?
It was myself. Mark Turner played drums, and Stevie Borgerding played bass.
Didn't you go when you got signed? Didn't you call DeVito up and ask if you and record at his place?
Yeah, so we went back when for our first record. We went and spent a month at recording because I just felt comfortable at that studio, and I trusted Jim, and we enlisted our friend Kurt Block to come produce the record, and Jim helped engineer it a bit, and just basically had the studio there for us, and we spent a month there making that record.
I bet DeVito was kind of stoked about that.
Yeah, he was. He was happy.
Did London? What kind of advance? That was back around the time record labels kind of gave out advances and stuff. What kind of advance did you guys get?
Oh, it was pretty solid.
Like $1 million.
No,
$8 million.
It wasn't like that. Everybody is like, "Oh, you're rich now," and like, not really. Like, if
I'm gonna guess maybe
you want to split the thing 4 ways or 3 ways, and then try to live off it for a year. It's like,
really?
Not really that much dough.
Oh, so you could live off of, so they gave you enough to live off for a year?
Yeah, probably.
So they gave you about $250,000?
No, it was less than that. Our advance was, I forget what it was actually. I went on to get signed for a couple other labels that I got way bigger advances than I got from London, but it was still like, we had never seen that kind of dough at that point, we're like, holy shit,
so Did you guys live off of it for a year, or did you buy a bunch of gear?
Yeah. And then we got a publishing deal through Interscope, and that was pretty solid too. So that, you know, kind of floated us for a little bit too.
Yeah, so things kind of happened pretty quick for you after the mice were over. So
yeah, it seemed like stuff was kind of moving pretty fast, and you know,
so you were still in San Francisco when the Mises the first album was what, Tastes Like Chicken?
Yeah, the first album on London was Tastes Like Chicken.
And did they do a second record for you guys?
Yeah, they did a record called Dirty Bird, kind of follow up to that record, and that one was great. We really got to work with our first like real producer on that record, and you know, like doing the pre-production of the songs, and you know, really like honing in on stuff and making it like totally kick ass, and that was really fun, and yeah.
Where'd you record that album?
We did that in Sausalito, which is across the bridge from
at the record plant.
At the record plant.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
And then we mixed it in London at Master Rock and Britannia Row. And that was fun.
Yeah.
Went over there for a little while and mixed it. And kind of bopped around to a couple studios. We actually recut. It's so weird, like how, like I cut some demos in my bedroom in San Francisco, right, for this song called "Uncool," and just on a little 8-track, you know, reel-to-reel machine, and you know, just kind of basically recorded everything the wrong way, and just kind of like, I don't know, sang the song. That was it, you know, and that was a demo. So the label loved it. They just flipped over this tune, right? They just, you know, it was just like, oh, so we went into the Sausalito, and we, you know, making that tune, and it sounded to me beautiful, like the most amazing version of that song it could ever dream of, right? And they heard it, and they were like, don't like it.
Well, they wanted the raw, recorded the wrong way version.
Yeah, they wanted the one that just sort of kind of felt like you weren't trying, you know?
So how did you record it on the reel-to-reel? What was wrong? What was the wrong way to record it?
The right way or the wrong way?
Yeah.
Well, it was just sort of like, I think it was just a vocal performance, you know, and you know, it's just sort of like, you know, a 58.
Okay, so you stuck a couple microphones into the whole band rehearsal. Was it just you by yourself plugging, or was it?
Yeah. It was. I think I used a drum loop and the you know, 58 on an acoustic guitar, and you know, just plopped a bass on it and threw a vocal on it in about 10 minutes, and you know, it just had a vibe to it. But, and so they sent us down, we're like, we don't like that. We want to, you know, so they sent us down to LA to work with this producer, at this other place, and I forget his name right now. He did work with the Stones and, you know, some other bands, Cracker and all this stuff. And, you know, then we re-recorded it with him, and they spent all this dough on that. Still didn't like it.
Isn't it amazing how much money these guys...
They still didn't like it. It was like, oh, God. So,
and they continued to throw money?
We really want you to do it one more time. And the opportunity was when a producer was in New York. So they flew us out to New York.
You know what you should have done?
Set us up shop in Electric Lady to recut this tune again.
At this point, how much money was being thrown at this song?
they threw so much dough at this thing. It was incredible.
You know what you should have, you know what you should have done? You should have taken the reel-to-reel recording, turned up the volume about 3 times as loud and said, "All right, here it is. What do you think of this?" And took their money.
Well, you know what they had is they had an awful disease that record companies get, and it's called demo-itis.
Yeah.
And what had happened, like they were chasing the demo.
Yeah.
They couldn't fucking get over it. And what they should have done, is give us the money, and then just take the demo and put it out there, because it just had such a cool kind of feel to it. So anyway, so we did this record, Dirty Bird, and it was so great. And I don't know, I'm really, really proud of that record.
So what?
I felt like it was like a first time really like releasing a record that I was like, you know.
Yeah. Did you re-record the entire album at all 3 studios, or just that one song?
No, just that one song.
Just the one song.
Yeah.
Did that song?
Yeah.
So they finally just said, "Oh, we're out of money. Let's just release the thing."
I don't know what they did. I think they were just like, you guys are so over budget right now on this thing.
Yeah.
So they released it.
Did the original demo version ever get released?
No, it didn't.
But you have it still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got it on a DAT somewhere. You remember those DAT tapes?
Okay. What was the name of that song?
Uncool.
Oh, okay. You didn't send me that one. I don't have that one. So, all right. Well,
I sent you some other tracks.
So they blew a shitload of money on the second Mises album, and I'm imagining it. How much did it sell? How many, roughly?
I don't know. I really don't know. It wasn't a lot.
Yeah. So did they drop you guys after that?
Yeah. We actually we decided to leave because they picked up our option for the next record, and we were like, we don't think you guys did such a good job on this one. Actually, the one prior to that, Tastes Like Chicken, did a little bit better than Dirty Bird, even though I thought Dirty Bird was a way better record. But
so coming from the punk rock scene of Jacksonville, Florida, you became pretty record label and music and business savvy pretty fast, huh?
Well, it was sort of that's what I wanted to do, man. You know, I wanted to be signed on a label that was happening and could do some stuff. And we played some gigantic shows and awesome tours, and you know, I spun a lot on the radio. It's what I wanted to do, you know.
So when you got out of, well, that's great. I'm totally impressed. So when you got out of that record deal, they released. So you did you have to? I don't know. How did you get out of the deal? First of all,
well, we just said that we kind of just disbanded. Like we're not a band anymore,
so
And then I started Alien Crime Syndicate in my bedroom, in the same bedroom that I did in San Francisco that I recorded that Uncool song. I, wrote a whole new record, and we got signed off the demos.
Was it the same band? Was it the same band members?
No, different band members.
Oh, so did you fire the whole band, or you said, "Listen, I want to get out of the record deal, so I'm going to go my own way"?
It just sort of like, we just like played a show and then never played another show. And then I started doing other stuff and working with this manager named Don Robertson, who's.
Were you still living in San Francisco?
What's that? Yep, I was still living in San Francisco.
What part of San Francisco were you living in?
Yeah, and it was signed to a label called Revolution, which was part of Giant Warner Brothers, and that was pretty awesome.
So
and
where in San Francisco were you living, Joe?
I lived on Ashbury.
Oh, okay, right in the Haight. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I lived with a few cats. You know, it was just
Okay.
like flat. And,
Yeah.
and some of them were in another band, and
It was back in the good old days when you could afford to live in San Francisco.
yeah, man, I was paying $300 a month
Yeah,
for
everybody
a
was.
room.
Everybody was. The music scene used to be so cool in San Francisco. You been here lately?
Well, maybe a few months ago, I was there with my wife. We were down for some kind of convention.
Okay. You're coming back
Yeah.
up here soon, right? Aren't the Mises are
We are,
reuniting?
yeah, Mises have played one reunion show in Seattle, and that was awesome. And we are playing one more show in San Francisco on the 25th of September with Color Fast.
With overwhelming color fest. And you guys used to play Bottom of the Hill all the time. I think that girl at
Yeah.
Bottom of the Hill loved you guys.
Yeah, yeah.
What was her name?
Ramona.
Ramona, that's right. So you're doing the
Yeah.
reunion show out here, and I'm imagining it's going to be packed.
Yeah, you know, I think some old timers are going to come out there.
So okay, so you broke up the Mises and you started a new thing, recording stuff back in your home, reel to reel thing or whatever it was, and you decided to call it Alien Crime Syndicate.
Right.
And did you get signed in San Francisco?
We got signed. Basically, Dawn got us a record deal off of just the demos alone. So she, the president of the label, said, I'm not going to sign the band until I see them play. So I quickly just rounded up some cats and put a show together.
Huh.
And she came to it and said, cool, all right, let's do it.
Look at that.
So I know.
And
It was-
it's kind of it almost
It wasn't like it fucking grinding it out. It was like,
it almost seems like shit was falling in your lap, but there had to be some talent there because shit doesn't just fall in a guy with no talent's lap, right?
yeah, I guess so. I mean, I'm not claiming to be talented right now.
Are you starting?
You know,
I mean, were you starting to get
write
like
pin some songs that were kind of memorable?
Yeah, were you starting to get like, wow, I'm really fucking happening, man. I'm good.
I never did that, you know, but
Had to be in the
well,
back.
I never thought that.
It had to
but,
be in
you
the back
know,
of your head.
kept moving forward, you know.
Yeah. So where did you find these guys? You just put an ad in the SF Weekly? or
No, they
something?
were kind of friends from another band, and
What other band were they in?
Yeah.
What band?
So, shit, I forget the name of them, but good question. I totally forget.
So they were just a nobody band, or just another local band, but you put these guys together. But you were pretty much the main guy. And you got signed. Did you stay in San Francisco?
No, then I moved to L.A.
Why? What made you want to move to L.A.? Because that was
because that's where we were gonna make the record, and I just wanted to move out of San Francisco, and there was actually a fire at our flat that the people downstairs they started a fire in their house, or a fire started in their house because they were smoking weed and putting a cardboard box on a furnace, and
right. Yes.
anyway, so there was a big fire in the house, and my roommate hired an attorney, and we got a little bit of dough.
Look at that.
And I was just like, fuck this. I'm not going to live in slumlord anymore. So we had a chance to move out.
So what kind of advance did you get from the new label off of your demos?
It was.
All right, I'm gonna take I'm gonna take a guess. Probably $500,000.
No, it was less than that.
All right. Well, it's a lot. You got a shitload of fucking money, And you
it
got
was a lot.
And you got a settlement from the place being on fire from the stoners below you. So you moved to L.A. We're in L.A. You had a lot of dough, so you must have stayed somewhere nice in L.A.
It wasn't really like that. I mean, you make it sound like that, but it was. I moved to Pico and Robertson.
Oh, there you go.
There.
Not too bad. No, I don't know where
Yeah,
that
yeah.
sounds.
It was all right.
It sounds.
Solid, and I was living in a little guest house behind a bigger house. And
yeah, it's right down the street from OJ. Right. So did you bring your girlfriend with you?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
So you're a single dude. And you brought the whole band moved down.
Yeah, well, actually, those guys, after we got signed, it didn't really want to play with them anymore. So,
you dropped
Don
those
hooked me up
motherfuckers.
with my friend
you
Jeff
dumped the band.
Seattle. Huh?
You can't hear me. Can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you now.
All right.
Yeah.
So you got signed off your demos, and you said, "All right, dudes, I'm out of here. You're fired." Pretty much.
Well, I mean, it wasn't totally like that, but I didn't feel like that we totally connected musically, and I wanted to play with people that kind of shared my vision that way. So
listen, I'm better. You didn't really want to say it, but the bottom line is, I mean, this is what's in not the. But here's how pretty much it went down. If I could be the little the thought bubble coming out of your head. Listen, guys, you guys are second rate. I'm way more talented than all you guys put together. I got us this record deal. I'm a talented son of a bitch. I'm gone. You guys stay here. That's pretty much what happened, right?
I don't know if it really happened like that.
No,
but
it did. Of course not.
Like,
of course, that's not what happened, but that's pretty much. So you dump these no talent losers, and you move to L.A. And so who did you find to be in the band in L.A.?
So my friend Jeff Rouse came down and
played with that guy's played with a bunch of people. He played in a band called Vendetta Red, who I actually really liked a lot. I don't know if he was in the band. At the time.
He played in Vendetta Red, and he's also played with Duff. He was playing with Duff.
Yeah, when I was in Exodus,
and Loaded.
Yeah,
and now he's on tour with Buck Cherry doing that, and he's got his own project too. Guessing game that he played. He was just a really sweetheart. He was the best man at my wedding and stuff like that. So I mean, we're bros.
Are you still? You're not. Well, you're not playing now, but he's not in the Mises reunion, is he?
No.
So you got all the original guys from the Mises, or is it a whole new band?
It's a whole new band. It's a different drummer and bass player. It's Kurt Block, who produced Tastes Like Chicken, is on bass and from the Fastbacks.
Okay, look at that.
So, and it was a band we toured with and we were buddies with, so it just kind of felt like a logical thing. Yeah, the other guys are kind of unavailable.
Wow, wow, sit there, wonder why. Wow, wow.
is that how you met Jeff Rouse from the Fastback Connection? Because I think
no, I met him through Don Robertson, the guy that was he was spearheading a lot of the stuff that was going on for me.
Okay, because I thought Duff was.
I wasn't that connected, you know. I had people that was helping me, you know.
Yeah, when I was in Exodus, I almost got in that Duff band right after Exodus got dropped. But that's neither here nor there. Okay, so you moved down to L.A., you get a whole new band. Where did you record the album?
We did it at, so Gil had just worked with the Foo Fighters at, I forget the name of that studio.
Oh, was that the famous studio that he did that movie in?
No, it wasn't Sound City. It was, crap, I forget the name of that place. It was it's right in Hollywood, and I'll remember it like in 5 minutes from now. So anyway, we recorded at this place, and it was really great.
Yeah.
And went to mix, and we were finishing mixing on the last day of mixing. The president of the label who signed us walks in the mix room and said, "I just got fired."
Huh. Bummer for him. But not for you guys.
Me.
Well, bummer for you, but you just got $500,000 from the son of a bitches, though, or whatever. You got a lot of money.
You know. Yeah, but it wasn't about the money. We had a really killer record, and we're able to release it.
Also,
that's what I was doing.
Yeah, they owned it.
Yeah, and they tied us up for 18 months. So we packed up and moved to Seattle, and
without that record, you could not keep the masters.
Without that record, yeah, and they said, we couldn't re-release the songs for 18 months, so we had a year and a half kind of holding pattern. So,
and you were called Alien Crime Syndicate at the time, so you already had the name.
Yeah, ACS. So we came up and we had written, some new songs and stuff, and we took a handful of the songs that we did for that record in LA, re-recorded them, and pretty much on the day that 18th month was up, we released Dust to Dirt and on an indie. And that record, actually, we did pretty good with that record, toured on it quite a bit, and made a new record called XL Coast to Coast. And that one, we released it, and pretty much a couple of weeks after it coming out, we signed to V2.
Which is another major label. Pretty much.
Yeah. So that was the third major label deal.
Look at that.
At that point. If you're counting, it's the third one.
I'm counting.
And V2 was it was Virgin 2, basically, like Moby and the White Stripes, and a bunch of other kind of cool bands.
Now, did they give did they give you a huge advance?
They gave us some. I mean, it was modest. It wasn't like that Revolution thing, and I think that's probably why she got fired, because she was just tossing out advances. And
well, that was around the time. That was still when record labels were tossing out advances like there was nothing.
Yeah, and so we got signed to V2 and made that record and did a bunch of touring and things like that. And we released a song called Ozzy that was kind of a
minor hit.
Yeah, a minor hit, and saw some traction on that a little bit, and and then they offered us kind of a I don't know. We thought it was sort of insulting, an offer to make another record with them.
So you were signed,
and we're like, no.
Okay, so let me backtrack for a second. So V2 signed you for one album with an.
They signed us for two.
Oh, they signed you for two.
Deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you
and actually, when you signed labels, you probably already noticed that there's a clause in it called pay to play. And if they don't release your record in a certain amount of time after you've delivered it and they've accepted it, they have to pay you to leave. So the offer was twice as much for us to go
away
than they were going to give us to make a record. And we were like, well, the hell with this.
Yeah.
We're taking the dough, and
sure.
then we're going to make a record on our own terms. And we did that, and that was 10 songs in the key of betrayal.
And what
and
label?
That was the last ACS record, but it was great. We got released in Japan and sold quite a few copies over there, too.
And what label was that on?
That was on the Control Group.
Okay. What were they? Were they semi-major, large indie?
No, they were independent.
Okay.
And it was Nabil who played drums in the band. It was his label. So, but they were actually a kind of a happening indie label.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that record.
So, and then I ended up right about like, I don't know, a year or so before that record, I opened the studio, Orbit Audio, and started producing records there.
Yeah. How'd you come across? So, didn't you guys record at that studio already?
At Orbit?
Yeah.
No, we did the 10 Songs record, the
Okay.
ACS record there, but a pretty interesting story on how that thing happened. It was pretty cool.
I think I've heard this story, but go ahead.
You have?
I think maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I'm probably
All right. So my friend Mike, who was playing in the band, and Jeff, they started playing with Duff.
Yes. Yeah.
And we were all at this Christmas. And ACS was still active, but they were just kind of side manning with Duff and playing with his thing. We're all at this kind of Christmas dinner, and Duff was like, "Oh, yeah, hey, I have this board and tape machine in LA, and you can use it or whatever."
Was Duff sober at this time?
Are you kidding me?
Was he sober at this time?
What's that?
Was Duff sober?
Yeah.
He was sober. Okay.
Yeah, he was sober. He wasn't like giving his cars away or anything like that. He's like, you can use it or whatever. It's just a tape machine and the board. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll totally take you up on that. And then right about that time, there was a studio space that was opening up. But the current tenants were vacating the space, and I just said yes to a couple of things, and it's like, dude, I'm in the studio business now. So
nice.
And that's been 15 years.
Pretty much all because of that Christmas party you went to.
Yeah, and
isn't it amazing how shit falls into place?
It wasn't much of my doing, you know.
Yeah, it almost makes you believe in that movie or a book, The Secret.
Yeah, well, I think there was a lot of divine help.
Yeah, exactly.
Was there.
So now you still have Orbit Audio. That's the name of it, Orbit Audio? Orbit.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Orbit Audio.
How long have you had that studio?
It's been open 15 years commercially.
Nice.
And,
it's kind of hard to keep a recording studio open nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, and well, we had some pretty good success there, and we did both Mackmore records and platinum records for that, and just producing a lot of bands and, just being on the scene and, it's been great. And
is that studio?
now we've just, in the last couple of years, we just opened a school for audio engineering and sound design for video games called Seattle Recording Arts. So I'm more in the kind of education.
Right. Well, that's good.
Deal these days. Yeah.
So with the classes and the studio, is the studio pretty much booked all the time now with the classes too?
Yeah.
That's great.
It's like a full house down there, and we've hired employees and all this stuff.
So you're still hands-on?
Oh yeah. I do most of the projects there, but I turn some over to my staff that I don't want to do.
So then something happened with your health, right? Can you talk about that?
Yeah. Sure. Last year, I had this bump on my chin near my neck, right below my jaw line, and
which kind of feels like. I'm feeling my neck right now. I can feel a little bump. That's kind of like, this lymph nodes or whatever. It's like you just feel it. It's kind of.
Yeah, but this was like a little bit too big to be like a pimple or ingrown hair or something.
Yeah.
It was like, this doesn't feel right. And my wife and I actually played some music together, and we went off and played a handful of 10 or less shows in Europe, and came back, and I still had this bump on my neck, and like I went to the doctor, and it's like, I am not leaving here until you give me a referral to see someone that isn't like a doctor in a box,
Why? What did the doctor say? It's probably nothing?
Yeah, they were like, does it hurt? And I was like, no. And, well, it doesn't feel hot. I don't know. And like, I finally just like advocated for myself, like, no, hell no. I'm not leaving here until you give me a referral to go see
There you go, kids. Listen to what this guy's saying, kids. Don't listen. These doctors don't know fucking shit. They don't know shit.
Well, you got to be an advocate for yourself. If something doesn't feel right in your gut, just, because I know someone who just passed away because he waited too long. So,
so you thought it may be cancer?
I went to another doctor and a specialist. Is actually, they referred me to Cancer Care Alliance, and he was like, "Yep, it's probably one of three things, and the one thing it's not is you don't have cancer. The other thing is probably that. But let me do a biopsy of it, and we'll see." So 2 weeks later, he calls me in, and he said, "Yep, you got cancer."
Yep.
But
yep.
But here's the good news: it's treatable, and if we move fast on it right now, people have about a 90% recovery rate.
Oh, that's good.
So I went in, and I was just fucked up for 6 months. Like They opened up my neck, cut it,
Holy
surgery.
shit.
I had radiation, had chemotherapy.
How old are you?
It was awful.
How old are you?
But I'm 50. I'll be 52 this month.
All right, you're a couple years younger than me. Son of a bitch, man. So first of all, when the doctor says come in, I need to tell you something, that's never good, right?
Yeah, and my poor wife, she was just like trembling, and I was like, I did a classic Joe. I was just like, well, fuck it, we're gonna do it. Yeah, let's do it. And I had no idea what I was getting into.
So was there any option besides chemo?
What's that?
Was there any option besides radiation or chemo or whatever it was you got, the whole deal?
And surgery? No, that was their plan for it. They want to do all three things. They were going to, I was going to evict this son of a bitch to the curb,
So they found it quick enough. But you had to, how much chemo and radiation did you have to do?
I had a couple huge blasts of chemo. And
what
I had radiation every day for 6 weeks. And that was Mike. That was the thing that it sucked so
I can
bad. My
imagine.
throat closed. I couldn't, I was vomiting all the time in DEFCON pain because it hurt so fucking bad. Like, I couldn't eat. I lost 60 pounds. I had a stomach feeding tube in my stomach. It was really it was serious shit, man. Like, dude, they gotta, it's almost like, when like a dog has tapeworms, what they do is they poison the dog, and if he lives, the tapeworms are gone, and that's sort of like what this shit is, because there's so much they don't even know about this.
Yeah, if
stuff,
he lives, the cancer's gone.
The shit out of it.
And half the time,
So,
if he lives, the cancer's gone, and they tell you 90% of the time the cancer's gone, but the way you feel, half the time the cancer's gone. I mean, at the whole time this is happening, you're going 90% survival rate. You got to be fucking kidding me, right?
Oh no, I took that as good news, man. Because some people don't have that
but
kind
when
of
you're
prognosis.
when you're going through all this pain, and did you feel like maybe this ain't going to happen?
I don't know. It was just sort of it's hard to describe the layers of surrender that's involved with this thing. And, all my friends on Facebook and all this stuff were like, kick cancer's ass, Joe. Go kick its ass.
Yeah,
and
what else are they going to say on Facebook?
You ain't going to kick cancer's ass. You ain't going to do any of that shit. What you're going to do is fucking surrender.
Yeah.
And that was... I had to do it almost on a minute-to-minute basis. It was so hard, man. It was really hard.
So where did you what kind of health? I mean, did you have your own health insurance, or were you on your wife's
No,
work?
Obamacare, man.
Really? Obamacare?
Huh. Yeah.
All right, well, good for Obama. Well, there you go. There's a positive endorsement for Obamacare. So
hell yeah.
Does your wife work?
No, well, she does. She helps me with the school, and she has her own business. She does has this kind of body care business, sells perfumes.
All right, so you had no option to be on her insurance, so you had to get them Obamacare. So it's all well, good. I'm glad that. Well, that's the second good thing I've ever heard about Obamacare. So there you go. So how long did you do this treatment?
Well, I was down for almost 6 months.
Did the studio shut down, or did the studio continue? Did the studio continue to do business?
The studio did, and I was still, I was pushing myself. I was still, I had a couple of gigs here and there, and I was trying to produce this record for my friends in this band called Guns in Nevada. They were so sweet, and I was just fucking sick, man. I was like puking, and there were times they would just show up at the studio, and it's like, guys, I can't even do it right now. I gotta go home, and they were so sweet about all this stuff, and we made a kick-ass analog record, all analog on tape machines, and never turned on a computer the whole damn time, and it was awesome. We ended up making it, the record was really cool, but I was struggling, man. I was struggling to just kind of put one foot in front of the other.
But you kept going, and you kept a good attitude about the whole thing.
Yeah. I wasn't going to let this. I wasn't going to, even dignify this to the level it was, So.
Now, when this happened,
I never did this kind of poor me shit. Like, why has stuff happened to me?
Right. Yeah, I guess you can't.
I didn't do that. I didn't play that card, man. I was just like, I'm a fucking survivor here, and I'm gonna persevere.
Yeah, there you go.
What? That's what I did.
I think I don't know if you believe in the secret. I don't know if I do either. But what you're saying sounds like the secret from the beginning of your life to now. It sounds like the secret in action.
Well, I'm not familiar with the secret, but
it's like the universe taking care of you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, that's a
Take
great.
care of all of us, you know.
That is a great. So, are you complete? So, once it got done, did they say, "Okay, you're completely free of cancer"?
Yep, yeah. And I went and got my 6-month checkup, like, a couple weeks ago, and there's like, you're all good, man.
Did you have
So
to change?
they're gonna look at me pretty closely for the next 5 years, and they said, after 5 years, it's like, have a good life.
Did you have to
See ya.
change your diet or anything like that?
No, because it wasn't a diet thing that did it. But I've actually trying to cut sugars out of my diet and that kind of stuff.
Didn't you smoke? I remember seeing you at a club in San Francisco, not that long ago.
Yeah, I was a smoker.
Yeah,
you
were smoking.
But,
I think you were in the smoking
yeah,
section.
But I had quit I don't know, a couple of years before this happened. So, it did, because I was a smoker for so long, that it did bring the risk up. It elevated the percentage a little bit,
So
or dropped it down, whichever way you're going to look at it.
you obviously quit smoking
But,
now.
Yeah, no, I don't. No.
And
I'm sober. I'm almost sober 7 years. No.
Oh, you don't drink or anything now.
Nah.
Did you make when this was happening? Did you? I mean, I would imagine that if you weren't religious then, you kind of find religion when this is happening.
Well, I was I've been on a path anyway. So, yeah, and it's not just a spiritual path, it's kind of self-discovery and things, but it wasn't like a religious thing.
All right, but are you waking up now every day thanking God to be alive?
Yeah, I'm I'm pretty stoked.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man.
So yeah,
I
and
mean, now
it's
that
funny
because
they say cancer burns off a shitload of karma. So
well,
there you go.
You didn't really screw anybody over, except I guess the guys in San Francisco when you went to L.A. But other than that, you didn't really screw anybody over. Hey, you put the Stevie Sletto and the Switchblades up when we strolled in.
From
Jacksonville,
I totally
Florida.
forgotten about that, Mike.
Yeah. So you're responsible for me being in San Francisco. It all comes back around. Thank you very much, Joe Reineke, for me being in San Francisco. If it wasn't for you,
you're welcome.
If it wasn't for
you,
it's
a great city, man. Like Jacksonville, Florida is like the food sucks there. Come on,
the food.
At least in San Francisco, you can get a proper burrito.
I don't know. There's pretty good food in Jacksonville. When you go back, the southern food, man, is pretty good. I miss the I miss the Beach Road chicken dinners, man. I don't know if you ever ate at Beach Road chicken dinners, but that shit's pretty good.
Is it? Okay. Well, I'd have to take your word for it. But.
Yeah. See, there is good food in San Francisco. Unfortunately, there's a lot of douchebags here now, but other than that, the food's good.
Mm.
My daughter actually is moving to Washington. I'm helping her move this weekend. So I'm heading up there this weekend, actually.
What city?
Where's the Tri-Cities area? I don't know what it's.
Oh, the Tri-Cities. Yeah, that's out on the other side.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have kids? Cool. You have kids now?
I don't. No.
Any plans for kids?
Yeah, I think my wife and I'd like to adopt a child at some point. I think. Her biological clock is kind of past the the ticker there.
Your wife stuck with you through this, so there is no chance of you guys ever. You're lifers together now, right?
Oh yeah,
Not a chance.
She was just a saint through this whole thing because it affected her just as much as me. A kind of suffering. She went through a shitload of suffering with this deal too.
So you still writing great tunes?
Yeah. I didn't send any to you, but yeah, got some really kind of interesting stuff. And it's just fun to write just to write instead of writing with like an end goal in the mind, like, oh, I hope the A&R guy really likes this. And like at a certain point, I didn't know who I was fucking writing songs for. I wasn't even writing them for myself or my fans. It was just I was writing them for a fucking record company, you know, and trying to seek their approval. And
well, it's because there was so much
kind
money
of a
involved.
bullshit way to kind of even, you know, be a musician, you know, like it kind of lost the plot there.
That's
you know?
true, but when
I don't mind admitting that
when
you
they
know?
are throwing that much money at you, you kind of have no choice.
You know, it was like, you know, it was like a fucking prison bar with gold bars.
Yeah,
you know, like a
there's
prison cell with gold bars.
There's worse prison.
That's what it was.
There's worse prison cells to be in. So,
right.
you're a Paul Westerberg fan, obviously, right?
Yeah.
What do you think of that? What do you think of that? The I Don't Cares album.
I didn't hear that, so I can't really comment on that. But
it's my. I think I would say probably it's my favorite album that's come out so far this year. It's so fucking good. I'm sorry for cussing so much around you. You're a born again Christian. I apologize.
Come on.
I'm kidding. All right. Well, Joe, it's a great story, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, ACS toured with Tommy, and I was Tommy Stinson from The Replacements.
Yeah, you guys were weren't you guys his backing band for a while?
Yeah, we were his backing band too. So on the Village Gorilla Head tour,
weren't the Figs his backing band on that same album too?
They were. You know, he was kind of had like an East Coast and a West Coast, but we ended up doing the full U.S. with them, and then we went off to Europe and played a bunch of solo shows with together and with Jesse Malin in Europe. So, do you know that cat?
I don't know him. I've had him on the show twice. I just now.
Oh, okay, but you know of him, DJ and all that stuff. I
just now got the vinyl. Just now, in the mail today, I received the new Degeneration album on vinyl. Just came in the mail today.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah. So yeah, I know of Degeneration. I'm doing actually doing a track by track review of this album probably within the next couple of days on this show. Yeah, I know Degeneration well. I like Ricky Bacchus. I think that guy's really talented.
I know Richard. He's awesome. Like we're friends on Facebook, and we kind of clown around every once in a while. But yeah,
they're coming out here in a couple weeks. I'm going to be going to the show. I love.
Oh, really?
I love Degeneration.
Cool.
Yeah. So
cool,
I know those guys.
I've seen them in Philly and I forget.
They were a very influential band. I actually used to have the demos from the first album that Andy Chernoff from the Dictators produced. Wish I still had that cassette.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
funny. They got signed.
They got a lot of money back in those days too. I think they did.
Yeah. They signed to a label called Chrysalis.
Yep.
And
UFO's label.
Jesse was always funny. He was like, "Yeah, we just signed a syphilis record."
Chrysalis was a cool label back then. I don't know about when Degeneration was on it, but UFO was on Chrysalis. That was all I needed.
Yeah. Wasn't like Billy Idol on that label too?
Probably. I don't. I just know UFO from Chrysalis. I think Pat Benatar was on Chrysalis too.
Man, I loved UFO as a kid.
Yeah.
What was that double live record that they
Strangers
did?
in the Night.
Insane.
Strangers in the Night.
What's that?
Strangers in the Night.
That was it. Yeah, that kind of. Oh, dude.
One of the greatest.
Mother Mary. All these songs. It was so great. And I made the mistake of going to see them about a handful of years ago here in Seattle.
Yeah, me too.
And it was just sad, man. I was like, I should have left that memory where it was.
Yeah, well, Pete Way's not in the band anymore, and neither is Michael Schenker, and neither is the guy who took Michael Schenker's place. They got this guy, Vinnie Moore, who's like a noodler guy, like a I don't know what you kind of like an Ingve type guy, I guess you'd call it. Yeah, they're not as good anymore. But back then they were great, and those guys did more drugs than Guns N' Roses ever thought about doing.
I know they had more melody than that was really attracted me to that band. They would rock really hard, but they had like a really solid sense of melody.
Yeah, Mike Klink did those records. He was the engineer for Ron Nevison.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, Ron Nevison produced them, but Mike Klink was his engineer. And I played when I was down in L.A. playing with this guy. I don't know if you ever heard this band, the Wild Hearts. Anyway, this guy Ginger.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I was down playing with this guy Ginger, who's a singer and songwriter from the Wild Hearts, and we recorded a song, and Mike Klink engineered it, and he did the Guns N' Roses album, and I said, man, I don't care about the Guns N' Roses. All I want to talk to you about is UFO, Strangers in the Night, and Obsession. He goes, and he got like kind of pissed off and says, "Oh, Guns N' Roses pays my bill to this day, man." But that guy was, enough of that. It's neither here nor there. I geeked out on UFO with that guy for a while.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. That's so cool. Those guitar tones are thick.
Yeah.
Ballsy.
Yeah, well, Michael Schenker had the great guitar tones anyway, so yeah. And Pete Wayne,
well, it's funny. You can give a guitar to two different people, and you'll have two different experiences sonically.
Well, you can give any.
Well, Michael Schenker just knows how to fucking play.
Well, some of these guys, it doesn't matter what guitar you give them, they sound like them.
Yeah, totally.
It can be Michael Schenker, be Brian May, anybody, Ted Nugent even. All right, well, Joe.
Fuck that guy.
I knew you were going to say that. But the guy's a ripping guitar player. Man, when I was a kid, I loved the Nuge. Sorry. All right, Joe, we've been over an hour. I appreciate you coming on for this long. It's really nice of you to give me so much time.
Oh, man, that was great. And are you going to spice some of these tunes in?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to put one at the beginning. I'm going to put one in the middle. I'm going to put one at the end, and I'm going to ask you to program it. It doesn't have to be your songs. It can be any songs you want. So you're programming the first, middle, and last song of this show. So go, Joe Reineke.
Well, I'm going to just play the song that I sent you. Yeah, right. I think you should do that. Like, I forget what they are now.
You sent me "Forever Is Rock and Roll," "The American Way," "Pimpin' the Land," "Fall." That's what you sent me from Alien Crime Syndicate, and from I think the stuff you sent me from the Mises was from Dirty Bird.
Okay, so let's go with "The American Way" first.
All right, I'm writing this down.
All right, and let's go with "Wow." And then you could wrap it up with "Wings" or something like that.
All right, there you go. That's the program.
Short barn burner.
All right. Well, Joe Reineke, the guy who has lived a charmed and are you thinking about writing a book? Any plans to write a book? Everybody writes books now. I'm halfway through my life.
I don't think so.
I'm halfway through my book.
It's going to be a few pages.
I'm halfway through my book, and I got halfway very fast. And then when I got halfway through it, I ran out of things to write about. So I haven't written this stupid book in like 2 years. So
wow.
No plans to write a book then. It's not easy.
Well, I just want to say that you were the first punk band I've ever saw in my life. And so you were a huge inspiration for me, Michael Butler.
No, we were just part of the punk rock scene.
Absolute inspiration for me. And I want to thank you for that.
Well, I want to thank you, Joe. You're a huge inspiration for anybody. For what advice would you get a kid now coming up? What's the best advice you would give this kid who wants to be a rock star or whatever, who wants to play music?
Go play music. All
right.
And don't take advice from someone who isn't qualified to give it to you, or don't listen to advice from someone that isn't qualified, Consider the source.
All right.
Follow your gut, man.
All right. All right, Joe. Well, I'm hoping to come to that Bottom of the Hill show. So if I come, I'll look for me. I'll be in.
Yeah, let me know, and we'll do all that guest list stuff and whatever.
I will be I'll be in the back of the room, probably standing in the corner by myself.
All right, it's going to be dangerous.
Okay,
that's probably a good place to be.
I'll be in the corner because I'm just don't want to talk to anybody. All right. All right, Joe. Thanks for coming on.
Right,
it's really nice to have you. Enjoy the rest of the night, and I'll see you in San Francisco.
Okay.
All
Take
right.
care.
All right.
Later.
Talk to you later. Bye. There you go. Joe Reineke from many bands. I'm telling you, that guy's a major talent. If you do not know who Joe Reineke is, maybe this show will help you find out. All right. Here is the last song that he programmed. Before I play that, it's Wings from the Mises Dirty Bird. Let me tell you how you can reach me. You can find me at rockandrollgeek.com. That's www.rockandrollgeek.com. Any way you can spell it, that'll get you to the site. Send me an email, rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. Area code 706-621-ROCK. That's area code 706-621-7625. Find me on the Facebook, R&R Geek. Find me on the Twitter, R&R Geek. Find me on the Instagram, Rock and Roll Geek. Don't ask. And thank you so much, friends, for all the donations. Please keep them coming. Without your donations, this show would die a horrible, putrid, stench-filled death. All right. Here's Wings from the Mises. We'll talk to you soon, friends.
The little birdie couldn't fly far, but it knew just what would get him through. Although the pot is boiling over, we're eating crow and making stew. The wings I love, giving all the feathers back to you. The smallest bird eats the little, scratches ass with his beak. The biggest bird eats the biggest. We'll have our breasts within a week. The wings I love, giving all the feathers back to you. Wings I love, giving all the feathers back to you.
It's a rock and roll geek train wreck.